What's happening, Hardscapers? Today we're going to be doing something very different on this channel. We're going to be reacting to some videos of some landscape contractor scammers. Let's get into this. Okay, this is something we've never done before on this channel, so if you enjoy it, if this is something that you want to see more of, leave a comment below so that I know that, and leave a like on this video. We're going to be looking at some landscape scammer videos. These are just stories that I've seen in the news, or at least we're going to be seeing them here for the first time. So I'm very interested to see these stories. And that's not to say that these contractors cannot make things right now and go back to these clients, make sure that they've done a good job and take that bad taste out of these people's mouths. They could definitely right their wrongs here, and not every landscape contractor is bad. Not every contractor is bad. Not every business owner is bad. They just maybe got into a bad situation or whatever it might be. Everybody's got a story. We're just going to hear one side of that story. And with that being said, at the end of this video, I'll give you some tips, a few tips on how to actually go about finding that right landscape contractor for you. I'll do my best to give my own commentary on the video, as well as kind of play both sides of the story here, just to give a little bit of perspective, perhaps not. Let's see what we got.
Well, what we have is a huge hole where we're supposed to have a spa and pool.
That hole may be the most expensive one in Golden.
Our entire project is supposed to be $280,000 in total.
How much have you given them so far?
We have given them $210,000 in total so far.
So right there, I've seen so many projects very similar to this, unfortunately, in the past few years. If you know my story, I started in the lift and relay paver maintenance space. So I do tend to get these calls of people that are in tough spots, their contractor left them. I do experience these things, and this can be extremely difficult, especially for the homeowner in these situations. It's very unfortunate to see. But with the excess demand that we've experienced in these past 2-3 years, where homeowners haven't been able to actually get contractors even out to their sites to take a look at it and to provide a quote for the work, they've just gone with anybody. And there's so many contractors that have popped up and filled these voids in the demand that hasn't been filled. And with homeowners wanting to get work done, they've gone ahead and gone with contractors that perhaps may not have the best reputation, or maybe just started their business, and this can get them into a hole, especially a starting out contractor taking on a job like a swimming pool. That's a big project. So I guess we'll see what happens throughout this video and what maybe happens to the company. But my first opinion on this is, one, likely a contractor that got in way over their head, too young in business to take on something like this. And two, that homeowner's given too much money up front. Personally, at least in my business, I try to be as fair as possible in terms of the payment schedules, but to see what work is done there and how much percent they've actually paid up front, no pool delivered, no shell delivered or anything like that, that's a little bit worrisome for me to see.
Thompson says the company was supposed to be doing finishing touches on an extravagant pool, spa, and pergola in his backyard in June.
And there's maybe 10 to 15% of the work done. The pieces of pool supplies never used.
A lot of work that still needs to be done there. They're out a lot of money in this situation. It's really unfortunate just to see the contractor that's taking that on and doing $7 million. I don't know how long they've been in business for. That's a lot of money to be doing. Whether this is their first, second year, people can definitely pull this off, but it's also on the homeowner to actually do their own due diligence on the contractor before signing them up. Not to pass any blame onto the homeowner, but as a homeowner, you do need to do your due diligence on who you're hiring and taking on your project, as well as questioning any payment structures that they put. Hopefully the contractor was honest up front of that payment structure. If the homeowner signs on to that and agrees to those terms, there's nothing much that they can do at that point, unless there is a law in their region that permits certain amount of percentages at certain amount of times throughout that project. very difficult for the homeowner in this situation, unfortunately.
Gibson says the company came up with a new excuse for the delay each week.
We've never been given a real straight answer as to how any of this has happened.
Several other customers in the Denver metro shared the same frustrations: incomplete construction, delayed work, and shoddy jobs.
It's sickening. We've lost sleep over it.
Emily and Jason Saul hired the company to build a fiberglass pool at their Aurora home earlier this year.
Evidently, this company's going around and doing this to multiple people. So perhaps they got into tough times. They over leveraged themselves. You know, if you're doing that much money, there's that much more headaches coming to your business. If you're doing $7 million in sales, you've got multiple crews, you've got multiple job sites going. And if you quoted projects the same way throughout that process and set up your season that way, and you realize that you've been underquoting, you've not only underquoted for one project, you've underquoted for 2, 3, 4, 5, as we saw on that map. They're in way over their heads, it seems.
We have given them roughly $90,000.
They say the job was supposed to be finished nearly 5 months ago.
Like I said, 40% complete maybe. And they're done. They've walked away.
Other customers like Scott and Donna Rowan were able to get a little further in the construction process, but even then, that waterfall is not quite near the water.
Ooh. Yeah, that just tells me they're just way in over their heads. The fact that the waterfall, why? Oh no, I feel so bad for these homeowners, to be honest. That is, I can't believe that.
And actually you can see over there it kind of rises up. All of this drains into the pool and it's supposed to drain away from the pool.
The slope is moving in towards the pool. They're going to have flooding of that space. It needs to be completely redone, unfortunately. That is heartbreaking, to say the least. The workmanship, the most likely underquoted projects to get them into those situations, it's just bad all around on the contractor's part. In terms of the homeowner, you do need to do your due diligence, know who you're getting into business with. You can you can ask for references. You can take a walk around previous projects. Google reviews, take a look at them and see what people are saying about that business. It's always best to actually see a job, especially if you're signing up for a pool project for a company that's just starting out. Take a look at those previous projects and ask those previous clients what they thought of the entire process. Okay, number 2 here. Let's see what this is like.
Side wanted answers after Cheryl Morrow says he ripped her off.
We paid him a little over $21,000, and then he didn't complete the job. The job's unsound, and he disappeared.
The materials there are nice materials, and the craftsmanship, just looking at that, and being that this isn't a freeze-thaw climate, the fact that it's doing that at this point in time, we'll just see what happens here.
There were 2 different levels of stairs, and we wanted to make all new hardscape landscape lighting and put in a patio.
Drew up all kinds of fancy drawings and said he could redo Cheryl's yard for around $23,000.
At least they had designs. That's a positive to go off of. That's a good starting sign. So as a client, if you're getting designs, if you're getting plans, that's actually a good sign. So who knows where it went wrong in this process?
The 2 agreed and signed a contract, but that was way back in November.
And there were times where he didn't show up for 2 weeks, or he'd come and he'd work for 2 hours and then have an emergency and say he'd have to leave and he'd be back tomorrow.
Despite all of his excuses and shoddy work, Cheryl says she shelled out around $21,000, almost the entire cost for the full project.
Just never came back.
That would be a common contractor scam, to take money and to leave, or to take a deposit and then just leave. It's a very unfortunate thing that does happen, but it happens during good times, especially with high demand. It also happens during bad times when people are in tough situations and they scam people. So this isn't just landscape contractors, this isn't just contractors in general, this is just bad people doing this. And in this situation, At least she got some work done. She got some materials for what she paid for. And I would say $21,000 for travertine and for that front yard. If the work wasn't bad, if the experience that the contractor left the client with wasn't bad, at least there's something to show for it. But unfortunately, that contractor left a bad taste in the client's mouth with the way they were working with their timelines. And as well as we've seen already, poor workmanship, at least with those caps. We'll see if there's anything else to show with this project.
Well, Cheryl says, just take a look. There are huge gaps and gaping holes left behind. The stairs he put in are difficult to step on because they're not level at all. And she says all kinds of electrical and irrigation material were left exposed before disappearing.
If you need to walk down your steps like that, that is... And the holes left behind, the mortar showing, and the low voltage lighting electrical, it looks like, or perhaps that's the irrigation system electrical. There's actually two good signs when hiring that contractor. One, they were represented at a home show, and two, they provided plans and designs for that. Maybe the next step would have been to actually check the references and to speak with previous clients of that contractor. This is a tough one. This client obviously did the right thing in going to a home show, assuming these companies are reputable, getting designs and plans for their front yard. This is an even worse situation considering what the client actually went through here to actually vet that contractor and pay good money for what was expected. So we're going to go to the next one here. This is the last one. This is number 3. We'll see what's wrong here with this one.
Well, Stephen, you can see that pool right behind me here. Definitely a ways to go before being done. The couple tells me the workers almost never show. The couple was starting to hit a wall, and that's when they wrote into us for help.
Another pool project. Unfortunately, this is what I've seen. I went to, must have been 4 or 5 pool projects at the beginning of my previous season to quote, and they were pool projects that the contractor just left. I had one where it was a complete disaster. It needed a complete tear out. Who knows about the construction of the actual pool? It's a difficult situation, you need to understand, for a contractor to come in and redo parts of another contractor's work, because now that contractor that is completing the work then becomes liable for whatever work has already been done. So if a pool has already started to be built in and pavers are starting to maybe get laid, or the base is done around the pool, and then you need a new contractor, you can't expect that new contractor to be easy to find, considering they just don't know how that pool was built. And they don't know how that base was put in. So this is where it gets really, really, really tricky. At least in this situation, the pool is just getting started to be put in. So maybe, hopefully they haven't put too much money into this just yet.
The 10% down, so that was $6,300, which we did in September. Then we had to pay another $18,000 and change to cover ordering.
Here's our percentages. This is good, the installments. So 10% down, that is in terms of what most contractors do to get on the schedule. So even I do this, 10% down to get on the schedule and to ensure that, you know what, you're moving ahead. Because if we don't take that 10%, the client can just walk away. It could be already in our schedule. It could be our next project. And then the client can just walk away. We've already got material ordered for that. There's a lot for a contractor to commit their schedule to a client. So 10% down, that's fairly standard. 30% ordering all material. Once again, that's not bad at all. 30% for ordering material, especially for a pool with a considerable amount of material, and then whatever they're doing around the pool, 30% ordering material makes total sense. 38% day of install. When does that install start? This is where it gets a little bit fuzzy. When does that install start? Does that start when the first day that the crew shows up? So going back on this, they're ordering all material probably prior to the project. So they probably already got 40% from the client. That gets a little bit difficult, though my numbers are fairly similar for that. And 38% day of install, I'm going to assume that's first day, first start. So already they're up 78% of that project. That is a lot to me. 2% upon completion. That is a very small amount to hold back for completion. You know what? As a contractor, I want to hold back as little as possible for that completion. 2% is too small for this size of job. At $1,000, I would say I would likely be around 10% at least at that 6,300 mark for a client to hold back if things aren't done to their liking and whatnot. That 2% is where question marks get risen for me, as well as 63,000 for a pool project. That also brings up some red flags as well. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. That's enough for me, to be honest. That is a lot. It does hurt as a contractor myself to see something like this, and to that it puts a damper on those people's experience on our industry. So that is a difficult thing to see. As a consumer, you do need to do your due diligence when signing up with a contractor. I can give a few tips here based on what we've seen, but one of the tips I see quite often online is to not provide money up front to that contractor. What you need to understand is when you're getting into $100,000 jobs, $150,000, $200,000 jobs, not providing a down payment for the amount of material that a contractor has to actually order and put money up front for, it doesn't make sense. It's not good advice. Maybe for projects that are less than 5,000 maybe, but even still, I'll take down payments for everything. Most contractors will. More than likely, perhaps a red flag if they're not, because you don't know if they're going to go out of business partway through your project because they run out of money. Who knows what will happen, but that's not good advice. What's good advice is take a look at the payment terms and make sure that you know what you're agreeing to. That 2% held back at the end of the project, that's too small for me. In my opinion, as a contractor myself, that's not advantageous for both parties. That's just very much more so for that contractor. Make sure that you take a look at those payment terms and make sure that you know what you're agreeing to. Do your research, get reviews, meet with previous clients, and maybe even take a look at their jobs. Go there, walk around, see their level of workmanship. I know if I went to that project with the waterfall coming out on the pool patio, that would be enough as a client to say, you know what, this probably isn't the right contractor for me. So being able to do that and seeing the workmanship and actually talking to the previous client, at least on the phone, it's a great way to actually get to know whether or not this contractor might be for you. Check references, check reviews. Finally, they should have insurance as well, so you can also check that. All of these are great ideas to get you started. And if you have any more advice, leave it in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this reaction type video, I can definitely do more. Leave your ideas in the comment section below, whether it's a video that you want me to react to or something else. I'd be happy to create a reaction style video series on this YouTube channel. And if you didn't enjoy it, please also let me know in the comment section below. Like this video if you found it helpful for whatever reason, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more hardscaping content like this. Thank you so much for watching.